Hi friends, welcome to OlogyKid, the place where we explore amazing things that end in ology. This is Alphabetology, where we dive into the secret lives of letters. Today we're starting with the very first letter of the alphabet. Can you guess what it is? Okay, that was too easy. It's A. But here's something you might not know. The letter A used to look completely different. It started as an ox. Yep, an ox. Let's travel back in time and find out how A became the letter we know and use every single day. Over 3,500 years ago, before the pyramids were even finished, people in the Sinai Desert didn't have alphabets like we do. They used pictures to represent things. This was called pictographic writing. One of those pictures was the symbol of an ox head. It had two pointy horns, a face, and a snout. This symbol is called Aleph, and it stood for the sound made when starting to say animal or arrow, like a little catch in your throat. Aleph was part of a writing system called the Proto-Sinaitic script, and it was the ancestor of all alphabets we use today. When people first wrote Aleph, it looked like a triangle or a V with horns, kind of like an A, but upside down. Fast forward to around 1050 BC. The Phoenicians, great traders from the Mediterranean, took the idea of Aleph and included it as the first letter in their alphabet. They still called it Aleph, and it still meant ox, but it didn't make a sound like A. It was more of a pause, or a glottal stop, like the break in the word uh-oh. Phoenician writing had 22 letters, all consonants, no vowels yet. They wrote right to left, using simple angular shapes that were easy to carve or scratch into clay or stone. Even though it didn't make the A sound yet, Aleph remained the first letter. It was respected, strong, dependable, like the ox it came from. Then came the Greeks, and they changed everything. The Greeks borrowed the Phoenician alphabet, but their language needed vowels. So they looked at Aleph and said, "We don't need this to be silent. Let's make a sound for a sound." They flipped it right side up, renamed it Alpha, and gave it the ah sound, like in father or art. And just like that, the letter A got its voice. Alpha became the first letter in the Greek alphabet, and it still is today. Fun fact, the word alphabet comes from the first two Greek letters, alpha and beta. Next, the Romans took the Greek alphabet and shaped it into Latin. They kept alpha, but shortened the name to just A. They gave it the triangle shape we recognize, two lines meeting at a point with a little bar across the middle. This design was easy to carve into stone, and it stuck. Latin became the writing system for most of Europe, and eventually for English. So every time you use the letter A, you're using a design that's over 2,000 years old. Now here's the tricky part. A looks simple, but in English it makes lots of sounds. Listen, A in apple, short A in acorn, long A in father, broad A in about, soft A in air, like or That's because English took words from Latin, Greek, French, German, and more. So the letter A had to do a lot of jobs. No wonder it's one of the most used letters in English, and in many other languages too. The letter A didn't just stay in English. In Greek it's still alpha, written as. In Russian it's the same shape, and it still makes the ah sound. In Hebrew, Aleph is still there too, but it's silent again, just like in ancient times. That's right, the original ox head is still hiding in alphabets all over the world. Some languages even have special A's. In Swedish, in German, in French, even when it gets new hats and accents, A keeps showing up. So what have we learned? A started as a picture of an ox, became Aleph, the first letters of the Phoenician alphabet, turned to Alpha in Greek and got its voice, became A in Latin and English, spread across the world in different shapes and sounds. And even though it's just one little letter, it carries thousands of years of history. Isn't that amazing? Thanks for learning with me today on Alphabetology, only on OlogyKid. If you enjoyed the story of the letter A, don't forget to like the video. Subscribe and it'll make the letter B. See you next time, and remember, every letter has a story.